Call the February 12th meeting of the school committee to order. Let me take a run through the agenda, and then we will jump in. We'll start with public comment for anything that's not on the agenda tonight. We'll move through our consent agenda. We'll have liaison and subcommittee reports. And then the new business, we've got our annual SRO update, and we have a whole crew from the RPD here tonight for that. We'll take the Q2 financial report, our update on FY27 kindergarten enrollment, and then we're going to have a quick discussion on the composition of the Killam School Building Committee, and in particular our designees for that committee. And then in old business, I've got a couple of updates and one sort of discussion topic, no votes, but one discussion topic for the superintendent search process. And that will wrap our business for tonight. So it should be relatively short and sweet here. So let us start with public comment for anybody who wants
to do a roll call for the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Great catch, Phil. I do need to do a roll call to order. Thank you. Let's start with Sarah. Sarah, we're just doing a roll call to order.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can, yep.
Yep, I'm here.
Sarah's here. Laura?
Here.
Tom?
Here.
Aaron?
Here.
And Sean is here, and I'll announce for Olivia's purposes when others join. Okay, so let's go to public comment. Thank you, Phil. For anything that is not on the agenda this evening, anybody from the public would like to speak? Looking at you. All right. All right. Let's move to the consent agenda, and anybody want to make a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Aaron. Any discussion on the consent agenda? No. Okay, Sarah?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
And Sean, yes. Okay, let's move then to liaison and subcommittee reports, and I may come back to this for Carla, because I suspect she'll have things to share around Killam, but we'll start with this group. Laura, anything on your end?
No report.
Tom?
No report.
Aaron?
No report.
Okay, I have maybe not a report so much as a plug. There's a substitute open house, so Debbie Hattery is in this role of substitute coordinator, I think is the title. She's hosting an open house on February 26th, so it's 2 weeks, I guess it's 2 weeks from tonight, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the RPL. They'll have experienced subs on hand to answer questions. This is really intended for people who are considering serving as a substitute in the schools, which is always a need that we have to find qualified subs. So folks there to help answer questions about what life is like as a substitute. They've got a variety of resources and handouts and whatnot to help candidates better understand what the day in a life looks like. And even Andrew from the HR team will be there to help anybody who wants to initiate the hiring process. So really great opportunity for anybody who's been thinking about being a sub in the Reading Public Schools. So that is my plug. Carla, we were just doing liaison reports. Do you want a minute to gather yourself and we'll come back to you, or?
Do you want me to, are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you, yeah.
Carla's like, I can rattle this off really sweet. Exactly. For Killam, we had our 90% design was submitted to the MSBA on Tuesday. We are tracking at $10 million under budget. We had a furniture sit test where we went in and tried out all the furniture options today, all day. That was exciting.
Did you have kids testing too? Or
We-
was it adults sitting
in the tiny
furniture?
chairs.
We had adults sitting in tiny chairs, but we brought in a kid
Okay.
and then decided, hey, we need different levels of chairs, more than just 2 levels of chairs.
Right, because you've got like pre-K to.
Because when his feet hit the
Fifth
floor
graders.
properly, he's like, I like this chair. I'm like, mm-hmm. So, and we had a meeting on Monday night. Thank you.
Perfect. Any reports on your end, Dr. Milczewski, before we?
Someone just mentioned the fitness center, how incredible it was.
Oh, no, that's a great report. Go for it. Yeah.
Great. So a few of us probably just came in late, like myself. We were down at the kind of the grand reveal of the brand-new fitness center and athletic training room. As we've shared, Claudia Mixon, alum and community member, made an incredibly generous donation and gift that totally transformed the space. So we probably had, 50 to maybe 75
Plus the football team.
plus or minus with students, former Hall of Famers, community members to thank Claudia for her incredible generosity, and also to see the brand new spaces. So people are still down there celebrating. If anyone's here and wants to come, say thank you to Claudia. But again, super excited what this means for our student athletes now and for decades to come.
Perfect. All right, so I think that takes us through updates, or through liaison reports. So we will move to new business and our annual SRO update. Chief, Deputy Chief, I don't know where we're going here. So you can come join us here at the table. We can spread out some extra microphones, and you can take it away.
Carlos. You can slide yours to the middle.
Am I just talking into both, or is it one or the other, or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter, they'll catch you.
Talk normal, they'll
They
pick you
serve
up.
different purposes.
All right.
He doesn't need any microphone.
I really want to hear you. Give me
I've
your
been
double.
trying to work on talking like I'm not yelling, so if I talk too soft, please let me
Inside
know.
voice, is that what you're saying?
My indoor voice, which I never had before. First of all, thank you for having us. Any chance we get in front of the school committee, we're more than welcome to take it. Reading has been very fortunate to have such a great relationship between the Reading Public Schools and the police department, and I'm glad this continued. I'm still going to put your last name, Tom, even though you have to go on, so I'm just going to continue to call you Dr. Tom. We're very sorry to see you leave. You've been a tremendous asset working with us, the police department, and just has continued that relationship. And whoever the new superintendent is, we hope that the exact same relationship continues with us, and that's what we're looking forward to. I unfortunately cannot participate in the process, neither can Deputy Chief Amendola. So Lieutenant Detective Abadi, who's sitting way in the back, is going to be participating. For those in the public that don't know, Lieutenant Detective Abadi was the Town of Reading's very first school resource officer, and now is in charge of the school resource officers. So he's still very active in it, very continued, and we're very lucky to have him, and he was more than willing to participate. But the Deputy Chief and I had too many conflicts to kind of make it worth going, and we don't want the inconsistency. But I just wanted to thank everybody for their time. And as you know, we've had some changes as people move up in the police department. The school resource office is a great place to start out, but sometimes people want to move up in the department. Lieutenant Detective Body is now in charge of the Detectives Division, started as our first SRO. Corey Santaski is our administrative sergeant, was another one. Mike Mulo was an SRO. He's now a detective with us. Brian Lewis got promoted to detective, so now we have Mike Davis with us now. And Vatch has always been the solid rock for us with Rusty. And just again, thank you for any chance to get in front of you, and we're very happy to continue the collaboration. Thank you.
Just to echo the same words that Chief has, everything between police and school is always a two-way conversation, and that's what's so amazing because of the school committee and all the staff at the school, especially Dr. Tom. We really pride ourselves in having such amazing SROs, which you're all involved in, and just always doing what the least coercive thing for our juveniles can be, and try to keep everything settled in-house in the school and conflict resolution that way. So I just want to say thank you for always making it a two-way street for us, and always looking for our advice and input at the end of the day. So I'm sure these guys are doing nothing but making us proud every day, and so they represent us very well. And they've brought some information on what they've done in the past year for.
Thank you, Deputy. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thanks for having us. Dr. Milichewski, just want to say thank you for your time here and all your support and collaboration with us. You've been a very big supporter of us and advocate for us in the schools, and we appreciate that very much. These are just some updates from last year, some achievements to date this year, and some priorities that we have upcoming in the school year. Myself and Officer Davis have received our state recertification as SROs, and as soon as they roll out the new format for the school resource officer in-service training, which I believe is going to be online instead of in person this year, we'll get that done at the end of the year. As the chief mentioned, SRO Lewis has left us and is now working as detective. Officer Davis is now fully trained and working in the role of SRO at the high school. He finished his CSTAG certifications, and he has joined alongside me on the NEMLEC STARS team. If you're not familiar with the NEMLEC STARS team, it is a team of police, firefighters, school administrators, counselors, licensed clinicians, all come together to respond to school threats, if necessary, or school crisis, usually death of a staff member or a student. There's also probably a dozen comfort dogs on that team as well.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Just to echo the Chief Deputy and Officer Vatcher, thank you guys for having us and continuing the collaboration that we have and the relationship that we have with the Reading school system. Dr. Tom, I'm a little upset that you're leaving. I thought we were going to commute from Beverly in the near future, but it's okay. I'll forgive you for that. Just to touch on school safety and crisis response, Matt and I have assisted with ALICE drills at both the high school and the middle schools. We've led professional development classes for ALICE for the elementary school staff, worked with schools to assess the threatening behavior using the Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guidelines, otherwise known as CSTAG, on an as-needed basis. We've continued to work closely with the Reading Coalition for Prevention and Support to provide resources for students and families that are in need. We continue to be a part of the district crisis team, along with Dr. Stice and the Reading RMHS core crisis team, addressing safety issues and concerns as they arise. And we will continue to work with Reading Police Civil Service Rights Officer and the Director of the Office of Equity and Social Justice to address any hate-based incidents as they should come up.
Just to add on to the school safety portion, we did, I still have a few elementary schools to touch on for the ALICE PD, but I've also had some interest in the middle school level since they just have the drills. I've had some teachers say it would be nice to have some, like a professional development refresh, just like the elementary schools do. So I'm going to be trying to set that up for both middle schools too. As far as school and community engagement, as you all saw, Rusty is still working alongside me, happily and hungrily. Cooper has retired, and he is now working with Detective Lewis at the police station in an environment more his speed. The SROs, alongside with the Reading Coalition and the Rockets Leaders in Action at the high school, collaborated on a food drive over the holidays, supporting the Reading Food Pantry. We're actually told the Reading Food Pantry was too full at some point, at one point of our food drive. Hopefully they took the rest of the food. I'm going to be scheduling the internet and social media safety for fifth grade students district-wide, as I usually have done the past couple of years. And SRO Davis has worked with the Reading Coalition and Prevention and Support to assist youth mental health first aid training for the juniors at the high school during health class. And we will be working with the coalition again to teach Choose to Refuse to the health classes in the spring.
And then just to continue on the school and community engagement, SRO Vatcher presented to Coolidge 7th grade health classes last semester and will present to Parker this coming semester. We joined other members of the Reading Police to serve elementary school lunches at 2 elementary schools and 3 more to come. Reading Police, we provided 2 cruiser ride to schools for students and anticipate many more before the school ends. SRO Vatcher will participate in evening reading events with both Barrows and Birch Meadow Elementary Schools. SRO Vatcher continued his work as a member of the Reading Children's Cabinet, excuse me.
Oh, sorry, I put children.
Along with with Dr. Stice, and we are helping to organize the 2nd Reading Youth Police Academy this summer for middle school age students. The Youth Academy will probably run between August 2nd through the 7th.
Rich, you got anything to add, or are you good, Lieutenant?
That's our annual update.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
Can you explain what your, like, online training or whatever it is, what you offer the students, like, what does it look like? Because,
For
I mean,
the fifth grade students?
Sure.
Let's see, I touch on, let's see, I work with the principals, so whatever they see as a problem in the school, a lot of it is, like, device-related. Group chats, a lot of younger kids on social media. We touch on bullying, just ways to keep safe and what to do and what not to do when you're online. That's pretty much it. It's pretty kind of basic for the younger kids, and then when they get to middle school, sometimes we reach out to Department of Homeland Security and the Attorney General, and they come and do the U.S. Attorney, and they come to do a presentation that's more like middle school appropriate.
Do we do any more, like, do we do that in health and?
Yes. Yeah, I did some bullying stuff in the 7th grade health classes this year at Coolidge, and I'm going to do it at Parker. And
Because with all this Epstein files coming out and all this online, like, online stuff, like, we gotta kick this up, I feel like, I've been watching too many things, and we need to kick it up, it seems like.
In addition to sort of the work that you heard of with our SROs, I'd say the two other spaces where you hear about this kind of most frequently be one in PE health and wellness classes, sort of all the way from kindergarten through grade 12, which is in our, Massachusetts standards as well. But also I'd say now with our guidance counselors as well and school counselors, there's a lot more tier 1 instruction, meaning it's like for all students around health, safety, both on the mental health side and the physical safety side, and we totally agree with you. It's increasingly important that we do this with what we just see in the world out there. So appreciate you raising that, and we are doing a lot, and we think we also need to continue to do more.
Because we used to have decisions, years back, we used to have decisions classes at the high school. I don't know if it touched on it as much, but it just, I think people have been thinking about it a lot, and I
Yeah.
think parents are talking about it a lot.
At least in the middle schools, they also have the digital ethics
Yeah.
class and the information literacy class, and so I know my daughter at least had told me that they touched on some of those topics in those classes as well.
In 8th grade, they do?
Mhm.
Can I?
Yeah.
So, I guess may I speak here? Sorry.
Have I ever said no?
I agree with you, but I think it's sort of twofold. Like, I wonder if, I know there's a fine line between telling parents what to do and not telling parents how to raise their kids, but I wonder if there shouldn't be more education for parents on the dangers of social media and, if you're giving a kid a cell phone, what are you loading on that phone and what are you monitoring? But then on top of that, it's like knowing that most teens have one, they have access to just a wealth of information. And so that whole idea of digital literacy and media literacy and knowing how to tell like fact from fiction and where you're getting your information. I mean, it's insane what they are, like, is thrown at them and what they're absorbing at such a young age.
But thank you. We appreciate you
Yes.
guys and being in the school and the collaboration and the appreciation just from, my kid, just with the, having the dogs in the school. It's huge, so.
If there is something you're looking for, I know our DA's office does have more of a parental class, and I believe Erica has even had a couple of them. We don't always get a ton of participants, but we can always try again. So if there's any classes you're looking for, either geared more towards parents or students, we can definitely put it together and see where we get it,
I think I've seen stuff at the library as well.
Yeah, I think this was hosted, the last one I'm thinking of was hosted at the library. I don't know if
The-
Erica was there, yeah.
We had one at Coolidge.
last year,
But the U.S. Attorney's Office does Zooms. I just forwarded one to the middle school principals probably within the last month and had them put it out there to their communities. Basically, it's a class for parents. So I think there'll be another one too in the spring, so when I get that, I'll forward it to everybody.
I do agree, though, getting parents to actually show up to it is a whole other conversation.
Everybody's like pulled in so many directions, but.
Until it happens to them, and then they want to know how to handle it or what the laws are. But I know, I believe, and we can look into this and we can pass the information on, that our district attorney's office in Middlesex has some information on that for parents.
So I'll just echo all the thanks for the collaboration, and the transition to Officer Davis has been seamless, as far as I can tell, so thank you for that. I did have one question. It's been maybe 5 years now since we got rid of the Alice drills at the elementary school level and went to this PD model. Nobody's certainly asking for it to come back as far as I can tell, but are you all comfortable that this is the right model and, we're getting what we need at the elementary level from a safety perspective?
I think it is.
Okay.
Because at that level, the kids are listening to the teacher anyway, right? When you get older, they kind of venture off on their own path. But when they're all in the same room, and especially if they have doors to the outside, they all listen to the teacher, and whatever the teacher says goes, and
Good.
I think it's good.
Great.
I have one more question.
Go ahead. Do you want me to?
Surprised nobody else asked this question yet.
I know you're going to ask.
We're waiting for the second,
I was going to ask
right?
that.
Have we had any updates on our other comfort dog coming in?
Chief,
So I,
And is he going to be the right color, like, is he going to be red-haired as well?
I am trying to take over the department with redheads. No, I know that Cooper is a multiple-time daddy.
Yes, he
I
is.
know there's a plan that they work with the breeders that they have out for this. I know we're on the list. That it's become so successful. We were by no means the first department, but we were well ahead of the curve for departments getting comfort dogs. Again, thanks to the support of the school committee. But it's, I know I believe we're on the list for one of the letters coming through that will have a peck. But knowing Cooper's family genetic line, they all seem to be very dark-haired. We're trying to have it match, but maybe, I don't know, down the road, if there's a plan for Rusty to become a dad, so if that's the case,
You can always buy it.
yep.
He's still a baby,
Yeah.
he can't do that.
Cooper's just
No,
barely
I know,
old.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's definitely in the works, it's definitely something we want to do. We've known how successful it is to the fact that we even, like, we joked that Cooper's retired because he was a teenager, he's lazy. But his role now has been really great with, like, if an elderly person gets scammed, if domestic abuse relationships, anything like that, we've been able to transition him into an important role with the detectives.
Yeah.
So that's great for us to kind of keep going with that, but the goal has been to get another dog in. I know he and his family are excited to
Yep.
have it, so I think it's more of a question of when.
Right, it's not if,
and,
it's just when.
Yeah, and I think the timing last time was perfect, because we got to bring the dogs in, get everybody used to them, and then give the dogs the summer to go to, like, obedience training, and get kind of familiar and grow up and mature a little bit, and that when they came back in the fall, they're a little bit better. So I think ideally, hopefully, springtime, but if they call us and say they have a litter, I think we're going to jump on it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, just like to echo a couple of the pieces here, too. A few people have mentioned collaboration. That doesn't happen by accident, and that's certainly not the norm in many communities. So I think just like to start the leadership of the department, too. Chief Clark, Deputy Chief Amendola, Lieutenant Abadi, just all of you have been instrumental in maintaining that partnership. I think the community needs to know that those are leaders who deeply care about our schools. When we're usually collaborating, it doesn't always mean that those are easy issues to work through, but we trust their competence, we trust their level of collaboration, we trust that they're all in for our students. So anytime we call and need to work through something, it's, a ton of trust on both ends, and that means a ton to our students, our staff, and our families. So just thank you for your work in maintaining the partnership. And obviously, to Mike and Matt, do an incredible job every day. I think two things stick out when you talk to students about your work. One being that you are everywhere. I think that when I go to schools, as K through 8 schools, it's more likely I see Officer Vatcher than I don't. It feels like there's clones of Officer Vatcher around. Multiple times I've gone to multiple schools in a row, and he's been at those schools. I just think that's a testament to sort of how he sees his work as being present in school, building positive relationships with students and staff, and being everywhere. And Mike, I think, has stepped in seamlessly for Brian Lewis. Brian, right? I was teasing him. I'm teasing Brian. We moved on to Mike. I'm just kidding, teasing Brian. But Mike's done an incredible job. Where you find Mike every day, every morning and afternoon is in front of the main entrance, greeting students every single day, right? I think that just means so much to students. Having your face, greeting them, and communicating with them, I think is just sets the tone for sort of how you want the relationships to go at the school. Second thing is Matt mentioned, like, talking to principals to build, programming. They both work really well with the leadership teams and with the staff. And I think they're part of the leadership teams in our school communities, which is so important. So I think that makes programming seamless. I think that helps them resolve issues effectively, and I think that just makes a stronger community. So thank you for your presence, and thank you for being true members of our leadership teams. You're integral to the success of our students, our staff, and our families. So huge thanks to the RPD, and I hope the community realizes what you do each day for our schools.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, if I may. Just, again, the collaboration, when we met to discuss that we were going to be promoting Brian, we worked out a transition plan together and kind of laid out what was best for the department, what was best for the schools, and worked out. And again, with us, you don't see this in every town. And well, obviously, because we're vested, we have kids. My kids went through the public school system. Lieutenant Secretary Abadi's kids went through the public school system. Most of my officers have live in Reading and have kids in the school system, so the collaboration has been great, and it's working together, but even just working out the transition plan together, and we came up with a mutual plan for everybody, made it work, and then be able to present that to you, and you signing off on it has made it really just, it's great to have. We just don't see it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's move to the Q2 financial report. I can share here if you give me.
No, good, thank you.
But feel free to, if you want to.
Well, you know, I would like to say to the officers that during budget season, could you bring one of the dogs around central office? All right, as soon as we get it up. So my introductory remarks are Q2 is pretty much following along with the theme of the fiscal year 27 budget, which is steady as we go. There's no surprises. We are financially doing well. As I noted in the memo that I sent along with the presentation, at this point, we're anticipating having about $1 million at year end for prepay of special ed tuition as well as IT refresh. I've been working with Julie and trying to identify some other funding sources for the IT refresh, so maybe we could not have to use quite so much of our year-end funds to do that. Excuse me. I think the question that some might have is, why is that number where it is? Turnover for this year hasn't been what it was in previous years in terms of some of the savings. So that's part of the drive in terms of what we're going to have left at year end. As we go through the cost centers, there's nothing really that stands out. Special ed, you know, the reason why special ed looks out of line with general ed is because we do a lot of the, we've opened up all of the POs for all of the students who are out of district, so that money's already been encumbered. Excuse me. You know, when I point out is athletics looks high at 76%, well, that's because we have not started to charge any expenses to the athletic revolving account yet. That's part of our work that we do between now and the end of the year in terms of our true-ups and trying to balance out what we need to take out of the revolving accounts or what we're going to take out of the general fund. Other than that, there's nothing else that I see on the general fund. Any questions on the general fund? Okay. Nope. The next one's grants. I've highlighted in blue additions to the grant schedule from last time. So you can see that we've got a couple of innovation pathway grants that we got in Q2, another MyCap grant, and then our earmarks from the fiscal year 26 budget. Again, I'd like to thank our legislators for doing that for us. So the earmark for technology equipment, Julian's got his plans for that. The high school is already working on using up their equipment earmark, and I, for the life of me, superintendent, can't remember what the skills capital tech was for.
Skills capitals for innovation pathways related capital and infrastructure.
Thank you. You can also see that in terms of prior year grants, there's no fiscal year 24 funds left to be spent, nor fiscal year 25, so that's good. That's all been cleaned out. We do anticipate on some of our entitlement grants to have money left over at the end of the year, and as you all probably know, we have 27 months to use up the entitlement grants money. So we always do try, especially in terms of the IDEA grant, to have money that's left over. You know, Title I just keeps shrinking. It's, you know, almost impossible now to carry over any Title I money. So that's where we are with the grants. Any questions on the grants? Okay. Revolving accounts. The good news is they're all positive, which is where, you know, we want them to be. I just want to point out a couple of them. One is the extended day program. Unlike last year, the extended day program is doing very well. Its expenses are down, and they've changed the program up so that revenue is more than covering the expenses of the program so far year to date. And I'm going to point out the other one before the questions come, which is the school lunch program. You know, it looks like, you know, we started at July 1st of 800,000, and then suddenly at the end of Q2, we're down to 280,000. It all has to do with timing. When you look at Q2, what's in Munis right now does not include our reimbursements for November or December, which is close to $400,000. So that's not in there. And so if you look at that drop off a little over 500,000, that's 400,000 of that. We've also spent about 105,000 in capital expenses in the food service program. We bought new ovens for the Parker Middle School. And if you haven't been over to Parker to see them, they are rather really cool ovens. I mean, they both cook and wash themselves. So that was something I found out today. I did not realize that. So we've got those ovens in 3 of the schools now, and eventually, as we need to, we'll continue to swap out those capital items. But I think in terms of capital expenses, right now, we got the van, though that was a fiscal year 25 funded item. The van finally got delivered in the fall, and we also did the ovens. So as of right now, we don't have any other large capital expenditures on the horizon. So, and
Go ahead.
Bill, real quick, I think what you said about, pending repayments is critical, right?
Yep.
It's really important to understand. Does it impact other accounts besides that one in terms
No,
of refunds, or is that the only one that we're expecting?
food service is the unusual one because it has revenue.
Yeah,
And so one of the things,
yeah. They all, some of them have revenue, but that it has
but this is the-
reimbursement revenue to a degree.
this is the really big one.
Yeah.
And what I would like to do, and I have not had a chance to talk to Sharon about this, is try to get this on a true accrual basis so that we have an accounts receivable account, so that we're booking the revenue. Because we know a week after the end of the month what we're expecting to get back. But it doesn't get booked in Munis until the check shows up. And, checks from the state are not exactly always timely. For example, we got our final reimbursement for June in January. And so right now, that's sitting in fiscal year 26 balances. It really belongs to 25. So that's one of the things that I've been doing, is going through and manually making those tweaks so I can get a better sense as to how the operation is looking, so that I know, looking at the numbers, exactly where we are. Because earlier in the year, I thought we were really off track, but then once I went in and fixed all the timing of the issues, it was coming out looking a whole lot better. And so,
all that makes sense to me. I think it's unfortunate the state is so far behind in repayments, but is it possible, I guess where I'm going with this, is it possible for us to add a column to this that says pending reimbursements or something like that, so we can see a forecasted?
this is the one that I will, for Q3, fix it so that it actually is accurate based on what we know, not what we've actually booked into Munis.
I think both are probably
Yeah,
appropriate, right?
but I like that idea, because otherwise I'm going to be explaining this every time I'm here about why that number looks so bad.
Right. Okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Other than that, school transportation, we brought in 53,000. We've already spent the 53. And I don't really have any other comments in terms of the revolving accounts. If not, gift donations.
Actually, I have one more question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Use of school property, that is our rental?
That's your rental account, yes.
Okay. So far, and that is actually net profit then?
Yeah, so,
About 100,000 net profit in this use of school property?
yes. But again, that's another one where, as we get into the fourth quarter, as we start doing our true-ups, we may take some of our salary expense and move it over there.
Okay. That kind of like forecasted potential expenses per the budget would also be good to say that haven't been pulled out of this as part of that updated.
Yes, that's what you're going to see when we come in for Q3.
Okay, perfect.
I'm just trying to get more comfortable. I, made a couple mistakes last year that I didn't want to repeat this year in terms of trying to, forecast.
Understood. Appreciate it.
Okay. Gift donations, the only thing I point out here is we've put on the donation fund for the fitness and athletic room. And because this is as of the end of December, you'll see it's got a big balance because the invoices hadn't been paid yet. At this point, that account's down to, right now, it's about 50,000 left in it. So we've pretty much gotten all the invoices and paid them all. And that's about it on that. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to back up. Back up to revolving accounts. On the memo that I sent you folks, I put on some language at the very bottom so that we can close out the Coolidge extracurricular revolving account that I went and looked at it. It was opened in 2010, and it had no activity from 2014 to 2023, where they did one expense in 2023 to nothing since then. So what I have put into the motion that we'd like to do is close this account and transfer the $2,698.06 over to the Coolidge Student Activities account. So that's what's on the memo at the end, if you,
So we didn't notice a vote on this tonight, so we'll have to include it in our next agenda.
Okay.
But we can do that.
all right, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions about it while we're on the topic before we?
No, it makes logical sense to me. It's one of those ones that's like, what is that for? Why has it been there? And
Yeah.
so,
Nobody knows because it's
answering the
been
question.
inactive for so
Yeah,
long. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good catch.
Trying to do a little more cleanup and, eliminate those questions.
All right, yeah, we'll put that on the next agenda.
Okay. You already did the gift donation. Student activity accounts, again, they're all running fine. The high school, as we said, ended the year with a big balance, and they're building up their balances because they're getting all the money in now for all the senior night activities that will be coming in and doing all of that. Other than that, there's not much else that I could say that is going on. I mean, they're all positive, which is where we want them to be.
Where's the class of 2026 account? Is that inside the high school activities account?
It's all inside Fund 8950. So 8950 is the one student activity fund, and then within that, we segregate out by each of the various student activities. And then finally, we have the scholarships, and we just have the revenue. I believe Kate told me this is the interest through November or December at this point, in terms of what's been posted for the revenues.
So that brings me to the other question I had is, why is the Libby Scholarship listed as a donation fund with no revenue versus the scholarships that are in the scholarship set?
It's the way it was initially set up. And as we had said before, because of the way the Libby Scholarship Fund is set up, it does not get credit for any interest because those funds are sitting in the general account. Whereas the other ones are legally segregated out from the money that's in the general fund. It's the way it got set up.
Can I build on that too? So I have the email open here. We've been going back and forth on this because I've been pushing to figure out how do we get this into an interest-bearing account for us.
It needs to make money, yes.
So here, the line from the town treasurer, our assistant town treasurer, reads, "This gift was from an estate, and there were no conditions on the gift, which deemed it an unrestricted gift. By statute, all interest on an unrestricted gift reverts to the town/general fund. It's only when the intent of the gift is to be held in perpetuity does the gift earn interest and remain with the gift. The town was fortunate enough to receive such a generous gift with no restrictions. With that said, if it were a gift from a living donor, you could reach out to them to have a conversation. However, since the donor is deceased, you would have to go through a legal process to change the intent, which is a pretty complex process. I hope this provides clarification." So I reached out to Colby's office to try to figure out sort of how do we go through this. Unfortunately, she says no one in her office has the expertise around estates. We tried to contact the name of the attorney that was on the initial gift, and we can't find them. So now it was actually a recommendation of Colby to reach out to a former committee member, Chuck Robinson, to see if he had any connections or ideas on someone who may understand state law who could help us to try to go through that process. So this has been moving over the last couple of weeks because I've been trying to make sure that we can gain some interest on this and keep this gift moving.
I might have somebody for you.
If you have someone or if you know someone in the community and they hear the dilemma here, we would just obviously, the challenge is it was not written in the intent of the gift. Since the donor's deceased, it's going to be complex to figure that out. But if someone knows how to do it, we would love that support.
So in the absence of that, this scholarship has probably 12 years of runway left?
Correct.
Maybe less, because, yeah.
Well, 88,000 a year.
Well, we have already did, 88,000's already taken.
I'm
out of
including
this
this,
one,
yeah, I was including this year, yeah, so 12, yeah, exactly. But even if it gets into an interest-bearing account, it's not gonna generate, 8.5% interest it would have to be self-sustaining, so it probably has a limited lifespan, I think is the point here.
Unless we've arbitrarily assigned the amount taken from the gift each year, so we could change, sort of what we've done the last couple of years to make sure it's self-sustaining as well.
Okay.
Is it truly arbitrary? I thought it was prescribed.
I believe the language in the scholar, I have it here. I believe it is to deserving, let's see. Let's find it right here. Yeah, it doesn't give an amount. Ready? Do you mind if I go some legal boring language, right? The gift agreement is to confirm the terms and conditions relative to the bequest of David B. Libby. Let me just fast forward. To be used for deserving underprivileged students residing in Reading, Mass. and graduating from Reading Memorial High School. The terms of the gift are as follows. The school committee shall award the scholarship determining the criteria for eligibility, provided that the funds are used with the criteria I just described. 2, the town shall manage the funds in accordance, and it gives sort of the spot where it's in accordance with. And 3, the school committee may expend the principal on the fund. That's it.
So we could extend the life by reducing the award.
We could.
It is probably the single highest scholarship award that's given
It is.
at awards night.
And there's 20 of them,
22 of them.
22 of them, yeah.
In the attorney listed Sheila Reichert, we have not been able to contact.
Okay.
Reichert,
Ghost?
we know that name.
I mean, there's a real estate firm called Reichert. Is that what you're thinking about?
No, there is a former Reading resident named Reichert
No.
that moved relatively recently.
Maybe
So
there's
yes, so we'd love some thought partnership support on that too, if anyone can help us
Okay.
move this forward in a positive way for our students, that would be great.
So I think first step
Yes.
is to figure out the estate.
I'm friends with her on Facebook.
You may be able to help us.
I remember when this was
exercise your DMs,
rewarded, I was
Carla.
going back and forth there, right? I have to, yeah.
All right, so if we can figure out the estate piece, then there's probably a conversation around what do we want the criteria and the number of awards and the value of the awards to be on a go-forward basis. And,
Yeah.
you know, is the effort perpetual, is the intent perpetual sustainability, or is it, you know, just slow down the pace at which we expend it, or what does that look like? So we can come back to that
Yep.
once you get in touch with your Facebook friend there.
And the last line says, "Thank you very much for honoring Mr. Libby's wishes." So obviously, just a quick thanks too, that this is an incredibly generous
Yeah.
gift to the community too, and to our students.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Little did I know that rabbit hole would be what we just
Great though, it
traveled
may be
down.
productive.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, I'm also,
Is that Phil? All right,
You're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
I'm
All right,
going to
are we
fly the
we
coop.
doing kindergarten update? Is that what's next
Do
on the
we
agenda?
have to approve that?
Q2?
Yeah,
I don't
we
think
had
so.
an A next to it, didn't we?
Do we?
Yeah.
I don't know what the vote is.
I know,
Oh, it was on Phil. Did we have, I thought we had an A for Phil.
Oh, was it because of the recommendation?
Correct.
Yeah, but.
So we should vote on it. It's
I-
notified.
I don't know that this is sufficiently informative about what we were going to vote on. I'd rather hold it for next time.
That's fine.
It's fine.
I should have noticed this, that's on me, but we don't typically take a vote on the financial report, we're taking a vote on closing a fund, so I just want to be a little bit more clear with what we're actioning. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to the kindergarten enrollment update, and let me scroll to it.
Great. While you're pulling it up, I will pull up the headlines, which should be pretty brief. One, we know that we had set a priority deadline of February 4th for families to register for kindergarten if they wanted to be guaranteed placement in their home school. So in the packet, you'll see the registration information as of February 4th, broken down by school. It was a total of, it's like just the bottom of that memo, 246 students have registered, and you see it broken down by school. So what does this mean for us? One, we do not at this point anticipate having to add a kindergarten teacher, which is sort of the best case scenario. Two, any students who now register, we can sort of work around sort of which school makes most sense, which school has space, and you can see on here, some schools have more space than others. Three, a few committee members have asked, well, how many more students do we anticipate registering? It's tough to look historically. Last year was the first year that we set the priority deadline, and we noticed that we had 20 students who are not school choice or Boston resident students enroll from the date of the priority deadline all the way through our October 1st data. So that 20 number, we think, is probably about what we will find between now and then October 1st. And if we decide to add school choice seats or seats for Boston resident students, those numbers may go up. But I think you could see on here how we could pretty easily absorb 20 students. Again, that's based off of only 1 year of data, so tough to know. I think Olivia and the team have done a great job trying to track down families and students who may be out there. So I think we feel pretty confident we haven't missed families who are sort of included in the census data. So I think we feel pretty confident that, given where we are, we'll not need to add another teacher, and that we'll have some wiggle room here with the other students who may be out there. But happy to pause for questions or feedback.
Have we looked at the census data in future years? I don't even know if it tells us this, but is this a trend at Wood End? You know, it feels like over the, I mean, I know the class sizes at Wood End pretty well, so there certainly are some years that are bigger than others, but over time, it feels like it's generally trended down. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, we had 3 sections in 2 grades, I think, at Wood End, so, and now we have 2 across the board. I'm wondering if this is a trend, and, you know, I mean, maybe it's attached to the opening of Killam, but we need to think about, you know, drawing our district lines differently.
Yeah, I think there's a move potentially between Killam and Wood End that needs to be
Yeah.
addressed, yes.
I mean, there's no, you know.
It's absolutely a trend.
It's a
I don't
one
have it
pocket
off
of
the top
town
my
with no
head,
new
but-
development going on. It's probably an aging population based on the average age of the homes there, even more so than the rest of town writ large. So I suspect it may continue for another, you know, decade or more until you get some generational turnover.
Sean, if you look at the McKibben study that was published back in 2022, I can reshare that with the committee. There's some interesting trends in there that I think the challenge is those trends are becoming less and less accurate sort of over the years here too, but I will send that I'll forward that again to the committee right now, so if you want to give that a look and see if there's any trends, I'll give that another look too.
Part of those trends were probably based on typical real estate turnover trends, which we're not in a typical real estate turnover time at all.
Yeah, I think, off the top of my head, I think we have 1 grade at Killam, right, or at Wood End right now that's sort of approaching our, you know, our classroom size guidance. My neighbors would hate for me to say this, but, you know, we gotta, you know, we probably should find more balance the next time we have an opportunity to think about what that looks like in terms of district maps. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's a very different kindergarten experience, right? Having 21 in your class versus having 11 in your class.
it'll get bigger, and, you know, kids
Yeah.
will sign up who might be assigned to Killam otherwise, but they'll have to, you know, Killam or Birch, and they'll end up going to Wood End, you know, so it'll work itself out, but, and I'm sure the class will end up being 15 or 16 in each section, but it's still quite small, you know, relative to what our average class sizes typically are.
Birch isn't far off either, if you look at it, right?
Yeah, Birch is
44
very
for
small right
3
now.
is
Yeah.
very small as well.
Yeah,
It's the
but Birch may have to
northern side of
flex to
town.
absorb from Eaton, or, you know, so,
Or also kill them.
yeah, so, okay.
Sean, I'm looking at it's interesting, I'm looking.
I like you.
It's not, they got the sideways. It's interesting, the projected enrollment in the McKibben study for 26-27 for Wood End was 44 kindergartners.
Right.
Where'd they go?
And I don't think that's based on anything specific to the Wood End neighborhood. I think that's just based on, you know, it's based on things like the average age of the home and like the
Yeah.
last transfer of ownership and things like that, right? So,
Turnover, yeah.
you know, Wood End neighborhood looks different than a lot of other neighborhoods, you know, for a bunch of reasons. And so it doesn't surprise me that we see a different pattern in terms of housing turnover and things like that in Wood End. So, okay. But overall, it seems like we're in good shape to absorb whatever kids may come out of the woodworks over the next few months. So it's good.
What did our internal forecasting numbers sit at before? Was it like 285, 290?
We're down 40, yeah, we're off 40,
Yeah.
so. And remember, last year, we closed that gap a little bit with school choice and with, you know,
Last year
Metco
we
as
were
well,
off our
exactly.
forecast as well, pretty significantly.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on enrollment?
I guess one other question, are you getting any feedback from Olivia for the people not responding where they're sending their kids to private kindergartens?
Yes, I'd say we've had
Catholic?
very few come back confirm private or Catholic. We had some come back and say homeschool. So we've had some who we take a note of who say, we're going to wait a year to enroll. And then we've had a few who have come back to say, this, you know, this address no longer, you know, is this family. things like that. But it's been under one hand that we've had for parochial or for private at this point.
Okay. All right, let's move to, let me just double check that this is the next thing on the agenda.
KSBC, right?
KSBC, yeah, okay. So we briefly alluded to this at our last meeting when Carla announced her intent not to run again. But one of the things, Carla and I have been kind of discussing this, and we had some emails back and forth with Mike Carroll from Colliers as well, just to kind of get some clarity and some guidance. But wanted to sort of get the committee's take on the Killam School Building Committee composition going forward. As Carla mentioned, or maybe as I mentioned and Carla confirmed, she's volunteered to continue to serve in a role on the Killam Committee. I'm personally of the opinion that continuity would be really valuable to us. There's a ton of, institutional knowledge that comes with Carla at this point, given the depth of her involvement there. There's a couple memos in the packet, we don't have to go through them in detail, but the long and short of it is that the MSBA requirement is only for there to be one school committee member on the committee. And we made the choice when we formulated the school building committee to have two school committee members, or to have school committee designate two members of the committee, I should say. And it turns out, or it has been the case since the school building committee was formed, that was two school committee members. Based on everything that we've been able to turn up, based on the guidance that we got from Mike Carroll at Colliers, I think we're pretty comfortable. We're pretty comfortable that all the sort of current language, the MSBA guidance, et cetera, would allow us to move forward with Carla as a designee in that spot without even having to sort of notice that we're making a change to the composition of the committee. So, all this is a long way to say, I don't think there's anything for us to do, but we wanted to sort of surface it with the committee to make sure folks are comfortable and don't have any heartburn about that, and don't have a different view of how we should move forward on this. Otherwise, our intent would be to sort of let it ride until we have to make any other adjustments to the committee composition. For instance, when we have a new superintendent in place, we'll have to appoint that person to the committee. When we do that, we'll probably notify the MSBA that there's a minor change here to Carla's role as a school committee designee versus a school committee member. But from the MSBA's perspective, we're already in compliance with their requirements by having me on the committee as well. So let me pause there. That was the spiel or the intro, and just wanted to open the floor for any questions or thoughts folks have about that.
This is a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. No, I'm Carla, you've done a phenomenal job in your role on the committee. I think not just because of your dedication, I genuinely think this has been a wonderful fit for you with your background, and it's so much work. I thank you for all that you've done and for wanting to continue to see the project through, and I wouldn't even hesitate to endorse this.
Thank you. I will say that, if you go through Tom's, really informative, a lot of work to do this.
I'd say that was a great memo. Who wrote that memo?
You'll note I didn't bother to write another one. We just included Tom's.
Mass General Law is the MSBA actually has a lot of leeway with their committee. And they kind of give you guidelines, and they
Some minimums, but a lot of leeway beyond that.
And Mass General Law was the strictest, but it also says a member of the school committee or designee, so it doesn't even actually require that, I could technically be put under another category, but I just think this is a non-issue as well, so. That's it.
Any thoughts?
No objection.
Sarah, any thoughts?
No, Carla, you've just been so critical to this whole process, your background, your commitment to all of it, just being in the weeds, and I'm so grateful that you're willing to continue on and just wholeheartedly support your continued participation.
Thank you.
I just want to echo when, Sarah says in the weeds, Carla is deeply, deeply involved at
She's sitting on the tiny
She's
chair.
sitting on tiny chairs.
the amount of meetings and the amount of the collaboration she's done, the amount of time she's put in is absolutely incredible. So I think I'm deeply appreciative of what you've done for the project, and I just want the community to know it's way more than anyone would probably think or see. It's a huge burden. It's more than a full-time job. So I just appreciate everything you're doing for the project. And if someone wants that seat, I would say there's probably a lot that they're not seeing behind the scenes that you're doing. You're at every meeting contributing. So thank you. Huge thank you.
Welcome. I am not afraid to say no, as I did in a memo today.
All right, so I think we have a plan to move forward there. So with that, we'll move to our old business item, which is superintendent search process updates. Couple things, just following up from our discussion last time, we did fill out the screening committee. Dilly Wilson from the CPAC board is able to join, and then Lieutenant Abadi, as you heard from the chief tonight, is joining as well. I know the chief, his initial thought was he or the deputy chief, but it's just, they had trainings and other things that were sort of unavoidable conflicts with some of the nights that we have the screening interviews. So we'll work with Lieutenant Abadi on his availability and make that work, which, given that he leads the SRO program, felt like a good fit as well. So, and obviously a parent in town and all that. So, Alicia Mallon, our new MASC rep, is going to facilitate the orientation meeting that we're having on February 24th. So that's one of the sort of free technical assistance things that they offer. So we are getting some support there. I've had the chance to talk to a few candidates who, really just wanted to learn more about the district and the position. Already pretty excited about some of the folks, so I'm, optimistic that we're going to have some good candidates and some good options. You only need one, and I think we're going to certainly have more than one that we should feel excited about. So, starting to feel a little bit more optimistic about our prospects here. And as I noted last time, we are ahead of the timeline for the other search that MASC is supporting, so that certainly works in our favor.
Good job, Sean.
Yeah, there you go.
You've been a rock star.
I'm
so
sure
good job.
it's driving her crazy that we managed to circumvent her timeline. So the one thing I did want to discuss this evening and get some feedback from the committee on is our plan, and sort of the level of intensity we want around our site visits to the sending districts, if you will, and also the finalist visits to our district. So, maybe Laura and Sarah, for your benefit, not having been through this before, after the screening committee comes back with their recommendations for finalists, that's one other thing I want to discuss, don't let me lose that. But after the screening committee comes back with their recommendations for finalists, we'll have a meeting on March 19th. I think everybody saw that email from Olivia that we're shuffling our schedule a little bit. We'll have a meeting on March 19th to formally sort of accept those candidates as finalists. And then, from there, in the following couple of weeks, we'll go into site visits and finalist interviews. There are two versions of site visit. So one is the candidates come here to Reading, and they spend an afternoon or maybe, close to a whole day meeting with folks here in Reading, essentially interviewing with various stakeholder groups. We would set up kind of a survey monkey to allow those stakeholder groups to weigh in on what do they like, not like about certain candidates, and give us some feedback that would then be shared with the school committee as part of our evaluation process. The other version of the site visit is, and historically, like in the way back pre-COVID days, these would be typically in person. The other version of the site visit is we would actually, travel and visit with principals, community members, staff members, whoever their supervisors might be in their sending district. For both flavors of those, when we did our search in 2021, when was that? 2021, yeah. When we did our search in 2021, there were 7 types of visit for each candidate. So when we did our site visits, we met with a group of central office members, a group of principals, a group of teachers, a group of their peers in whatever the role they were in, a group of students, the school committee there, and then municipal officials in that town that they might work with. So we had 7 different groups that we met with. Similarly, when they came to Reading, when the candidates came to Reading, they met separately with principals, the central office, reps from the RTA, the community at large, teachers who are not reps for the RTA, a selected group of students, and then the town manager as well. You know, I do think that those sessions were really valuable for everyone, but I also think 7 might be able to be something we can consolidate a little bit for scheduling simplicity and just to be able to get this on the accelerated timeline that we're working on. So my intent would be here to convene our site visits to the candidate sites, or consolidate those, I should say, to consolidate those to maybe 3 groups or so. We'd talk to staff, including their peers and reports, kind of a community member bucket, and then, you know, town officials and/or their, you know, school committee, or, you know, whatever their supervisory sort of function is there. So we'd keep that at, you know, more like 3 visits to each site, but essentially including the same cross-section of stakeholders to weigh in. So let me start with that one, and then we'll talk about when they come to Reading.
Are we talking virtual or in person?
Yeah, virtual, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we can certainly do all these virtually in 2026.
Okay, good.
yeah.
I was going to say,
When they come to Reading, it'll be in person. But,
yeah,
but
I actually thought we benefited from those being virtual in some way. Like, I was talking to Tom today, I'm like, in his case, we were able to talk to people from Medford and Salem, right? Which we couldn't have done if we were doing a site visit. I'm not sure we would have gotten the Salem insight that we got. But, so sorry, you're saying staff?
My proposal would be, yeah, staff including both peers and reports of the,
Okay.
you know, of the candidate. A second one for sort of a catch-all bucket of community members, so maybe this should be the last one. And then a third one, which is, you know, if it's a superintendent or an assistant superintendent, we're probably including the school committee, and then maybe some town officials that they face off with regularly as well in that third category.
As long as we think, oh, sorry. No, go ahead. I was going to say, as long as we think mixing that staff group will get honest
That's where my concern was going to be across the
feedback.
line.
I just worry,
same
like, if
concern.
you've got, like, you know, like, if you've got teachers and principals, and the teachers don't want to be as vocal, because, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a 2 in 3 chance
Yeah.
that the person's going to return to their district at the end of this, right? So
Yeah.
that's definitely a risk, so, which is certainly one of the reasons we wanted to talk about it.
I mean, I appreciate trying to trim it down, but at the same time, I feel like we got so much feedback and different perspectives from the different conversations, right? And I don't want to exclude the students as much as we can as well. I think we actually got some really interesting feedback from the student spaces as well. So while I know Mike's schedule is going to be ridiculous in March as it is, I think it's important that we get the right feedback for this to make the right decision. And collapsing it too much gives me pause.
Because it was so valuable.
It was so valuable. I mean, and, you know, we structured it, if I remember, it was like back to back. We would leave one, go to the next, go to the next, go to the next, right? And so they were somewhat time boxed, half hour or something in each case. So it was like 3.5 hours for 7 sessions or whatever it was. But, and even that felt rushed to a degree. And if we collapse it more, it might, you know, feel like we're not getting the feedback we need to really make the right decision.
I particularly remember enjoying the just school committee ones and the insight that the school committee members had. So again, I just worry when you lump too many people together, are you watering down? I totally understand saving time. My schedule, like, I'm also making things difficult in March. But I don't know, I walked out of those with like really, really good insight into the direction I wanted to go. So, yeah, so I'm a little torn.
I'm not torn, I'm pretty firm. I would like to keep it as it was, if possible. Obviously, if we want to vote on it, Sean, that can go.
No,
where it goes, but-
I don't want to vote. We'll just take the pulse, take the pulse of the group here and we'll move forward. But I just wanted to make sure everybody was sort of aware, just kind of
The commitment's large, right?
signing,
That's-
knows what we're signing up
right.
for, right? Yeah. I had the same, certainly the same hesitation. There's a risk that when you lump groups, you lose some of the honesty, right? Because again, if we interview 3 or 4 people, 2 or 3 of them are going to return to their district after and still have to work with these folks, and they'll all know that. So you know.
Not that they're going to hear what we hear, but
No, but I mean, you know, if you combine folks who work for somebody and folks who are peers of that
Right.
person, then, you know, that
Right.
that creates some
Yeah.
risk for the folks who report to that person in particular, right? So,
I just want to situate ourselves to have the most candid conversations
Yeah.
possible, because it's
Yeah, we just have to.
different things from different cohorts.
Yeah, we have to remember how we have to structure that though too, right? Because it is not a public meeting. It's not even an executive session.
yeah, we can't deliberate.
We can't deliberate at all. It's just basically scripted questions that we take notes on and say, thank you,
That's right.
right? We
Yep.
can't talk about it. We don't talk about it until we have our official, everybody's out, who am I choosing and why am I choosing it conversation. So
That's right.
it's a tricky line for us to walk, but a very important one.
Yeah, we'll go into that with everybody knowing this is your question to ask, this is your question to ask, and it'll be heavily scripted and no discussion on our end at all, so. All right, so we're going to keep that pretty expansive, everybody recognizing that that means we're pretty busy that last couple weeks of March. And then, you know, I think probably Dr. Milichewski will work with Michelle and, you know, on the in-town visits, sort of if there are any opportunities to consolidate that make sense. That one's a little, you know, I think that one's a little bit different in that we're interviewing them, you know, so, you know, I don't worry so much about sort of the transparency, you know, when you maybe mix groups, but we'll still try to keep it a pretty broad set of stakeholders that obviously have the opportunity to meet with the candidates.
Can you remind me, do we have a role when they're visiting, like, schools and meeting with?
We don't have a role.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if you all did. I attended the community sessions, I think. I think probably most of us did. And, you know, I think we all just sort of agreed we're not going to participate or ask questions, so we didn't have to worry about posting and things like that. So no role, but, you know, we're certainly welcome to attend the community forum and hear the discussion there. And then.
But otherwise, we just get sort of after summary reports from the different stakeholder groups?
Yeah, so we'll develop a, you know, relatively simple sort of Survey Monkey, you know, kind of tool. And then all of that will get, all the feedback that we get from the stakeholder groups will get consolidated and provided to us in advance of our vote and our deliberation. So
But then we interview them in person
we will interview them in person.
and
Yeah,
what,
we'll
the same
do-
night?
Ideally, I mean.
Yeah, that's what we did
that's-
last time, right?
We had 2 on one night and
Tom was,
1 on
Tom was first on
another
one night, then we had two on the second night.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have remembered that.
Tom was the first in both cases.
I would have said we did them all the same night. Okay.
Yeah, so pending scheduling of the candidates.
Yeah.
Then, you know, we'll try to do them all in one. It'll be a long night because I think we scheduled an hour and 15 for each one last time. So it's, you know, it'll be a long session, but if we can, we'll get them all on the same night in person.
And I saw that we were asked to hold
Yeah.
a few
yeah.
nights, just in case. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, until we know who the candidates are and can confirm scheduling, we have to sort of
Yeah.
hold a lot of time and,
No, that's
you know,
fine.
it'll shrink down once we get stuff actually on the
I
calendar.
appreciate knowing what to hold.
Exactly.
Just March, just
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was one, what was the thing I said not to let me forget to ask about?
Number of candidates.
Oh, number of candidates. Do we want to provide any guidance to the screening committee? Tom, I don't know if you remember, did we?
We did.
Did we say 3 to 4? Is that what we asked for?
5 is what
3 to
we said.
5.
Yeah. The committee came back with 4, and then one dropped out.
Yeah. I think 5 would probably be really challenging logistically on the timeline we're on. My preference would be to guide to more like 3 to 4, but, you know, I'm open to what others think.
I think we're going to have to go to 3 to 4.
Yeah.
And I think 3 to 4 is still going to be plenty,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, my hope would be that 3 to 4 emerge as standouts, and that, you know, I mean, if you genuinely had 5 that you were all endorsing, then I would probably want to know that, but otherwise, I would hope, you're such a good, the screening committee is a powerful group. It's a really good composition, so I have faith that, you know, you'll bring us some good finalists.
It works. That process does.
It was natural to get to the numbers we got to that time.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, as.
We even tried to get to 5, and we couldn't at the time, right? It was very natural to get to where we were getting to.
Okay.
So I think 3 to 4 is probably plenty.
Okay. Sarah, any thoughts on any of this on your end?
no, I think this all sounds reasonable. I mean, you know, it's a two-way interview street. They're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing them. So I think I agree that everybody, you know, making sure they have access, and we have access both ways to as many people as we feel like we need to talk to.
Great. All right, that is our agenda for this evening, so if there is nothing else, I will take a final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Tom. Sarah?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sean, yes. We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.